Hello, and you're probably working on your graph for the percent weight change of dialysis tubing and getting frustrated because we have discontinuous time. So, what that means is we have our initial time, we have the time that we collected the data at the end of the period, and then we have actually not 24, but a 48-hour time. So this is going to make a really wacky graph, but let me first go over how I set up my data table. So I'm setting up my data table to read in rows. So that means at time 0, the percent weight change for beaker 1, beaker 2, and beaker 3 was all 0. So it's reading across in rows. At 1 hour, our percent weight change for beaker 1 was 25, beaker 2 -10, beaker 3 0, and so on. So when we are to make a graph of this, now this is a little different because I'm using a Mac, but you should be pretty comfortable with the functions of Excel or Office Libre or whatever graphing program you're using. So essentially you'll be able to do the same thing, it just won't be the exact same steps. So I'm going to highlight this and I'm going to make my chart and just show you kind of how wacky the chart is going to be. So first it gives me this super crazy chart where it's reading right now in columns. So it's actually graphing each column as a set. So these series 1, series 2, series 3, these are all the columns. We don't want that because this doesn't really tell us anything about our data. So I'm going to look at my data, and in Excel I think you can just double click the chart area and this should come up. But there's going to be a part where it's going to ask you if you want to read it by row or read it by column. So I'm going to switch that because it's in column, and I want it to be read in rows. So now we can see our chart. So I'm just going to say, okay. Our chart has the data correct, right? It has percent weight change for beaker 1, beaker 2, and beaker 3, except for our 0 and 1 hour are way squished over here, and our 48 hour is way out here. So our data is really, it's called discontinuous time, and it makes our graphs look really funky and bad. So there is actually no way in Excel to fix this. This is something that Excel needs to work on. There's two ways that it's kind of like a jerry rig, kind of like, ghetto way of fixing it. And I'm going to teach you the way I think is the easiest. The other way is to make two graphs and overlay them. But this way I think is a little bit easier. So what you're going to do is you're going to lie to your graph and you're going to change the time. So instead of 0 hours, 1 hours, 48 hours, you're just going to go 0, 1, 2. Now, if you see, that's going to spread out our data so that we can actually see the values that are placed there. Then you're going to want to format the x-axis. So in Excel for Mac, I can just click on it and double click it. You're going to want to look at the scale. So right now it goes all the way to 2.5. We want it to end at 2. So I'm going to go to scale, and the maximum, I'm going to just say it's at 2. And I'm just going to give the major unit of 1. So now we press OK. We have a beautiful graph, 0, 1, 2. Well, the thing is that we didn't take 2 hours to do this. We should have 0 hours, 1 hour-ish, and 48 hours. So this is how you jerry rig it. You're going to select the x-axis again. Oops. So double click. You're going to go to the font, and you're going to make the font so you can't see it. So now I have no labeled x-axis whatsoever. So I don't know if you saw that. I'll do it one more time. I changed the font color to white. So I went to font color, changed it to white so you can't see it. And so now I have no readings there. So this allows us to basically have like a blank canvas x-axis, and we can insert via a ghetto text box the actual values. You can also handwrite those values in. I'm okay with that for your lab report. So I'm just going to select this, copy it, put it on my Word document. And on your Word document, you can insert text box right here. And you can have basically a text box for 0 minutes, a text box here for however many minutes it was when you measured your end of the class period data, and then over here you'll have your 48 hours. I hope that helps, and you can post if you have any additional questions. All right, happy graphing.